Organized play is finally returning to the Pokemon trading card game in March of 2022 after a nearly 2-year hiatus because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've got regional championship and national championship dates set, and I could not be more excited. I finally get to pick up where I left off almost 2 years ago with the 2020 season. In this video, I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can about organized play, traveling to regional championships, and what it takes to qualify for the World Championships. So hopefully this video can be a wealth of knowledge for any new player looking to get into organized play for the first time. We've got a huge influx of new players that have only started playing since the start of the pandemic and have only ever played online. So with all of these new players, I wanted to make a video talking about what the expectations might be if you're interested in attending your first regional championship or your first in-person Pokemon TCG event. If you're interested in trying to qualify for Worlds, we're going to talk about what it takes to qualify for the World Championships and hopefully answer a lot of questions that the player base might have about competitive play in the Pokemon TCG. Now, in order to qualify for the World Championships, you need 500 championship points. Now, that doesn't really mean anything if you don't know how easy or difficult it is to attain championship points. So we can talk about those here. There are a bunch of different kinds of tournaments that you can attend to obtain championship points. There are league challenges, which are typically small local tournaments that might have 15, 20 players at them. I've been to league challenges that have upwards of 50, 60, but usually they are much smaller events. They have a best finish limit of 8, meaning you can use your 8 best finishes at league challenges throughout the course of the season in order to get points for the World Championships. So if you have 8 first place league challenge finishes, you're going to have whatever 8 times 15 is. 120 championship points. That's right. 120 championship points you can earn from league challenges alone. So you can earn over a fifth of your World Championship invite from locals. Now, grinding local tournaments is tough, especially if you don't live near a Pokemon scene where they host locals. I myself don't attend many league challenges. I prefer to go to bigger tournaments because you really get more bang for your buck if you finish well. But league challenges are a great way to really get your foot in the door, get used to competitive play. If you're new to the Pokemon TCG, I highly recommend attending a league challenge once they start back up. League Cups, similar to league challenges, are smaller local events. You could expect them to be held at card shops, things like that. You get 50 championship points for a win, 40 championship points for second place, and 32 points for third through fourth. League Cups are best of 1 Swiss rounds, and they actually have a top 8. League challenges usually do not have a top 8. It's just Swiss rounds, single round Swiss, and then the standings are just as they are after Swiss rounds when everything is wrapped up. League Cups usually have a top 8 or a top 4 cut where you compete for first place. Prizing ranges from card shop to card shop, whichever store is hosting the League Cup. You might win a booster box for first place. Usually not a huge cash prize, though Full Grip Games will usually kick in a nice cash prize if you're attending a League Cup at Full Grip Games, but not all stores do that. League Cups have a best finish limit of 8 as well. You can attend League Cups throughout the entire season, so you're not limited to just 1 month that you can get your championship points from League Cups. So with a potential best finish limit of 8, if you spike first place at 8 League Cups, that means you can get 400 championship points from League Cups alone. This is all without attending a single regional championship or international championship. So if you are a phenomenal local player and you just tear up your local scene, you are capable of qualifying for the World Championships with just league challenges and league cups alone. Now, I'm going to preface that by saying that that is almost impossible. Very few people ever accomplish that feat, and those who do, I think, are taking the difficult way to qualify for the World Championships, because that's a lot of traveling. I mean, making your way out to 16 events, that's winning 16 events, right? I mean, that's a lot. In order to win 16 events, how many do you think you need to attend? Are you winning 50% of the events you attend? If you do, it's a pretty insane win rate. Then that means that you attended 32 events, which is a lot, okay? And we're going to get into expectations of how many events you might want to attend if you were trying to qualify for Worlds, etc., etc. Also, I should include here that this is going to be the most difficult season to qualify for Worlds ever if you are new this season. So if you did not play in 2019, 2020, you are only giving yourself half a season to qualify for the World Championships, because the point total that you need is the same as it was in 2019, 2020, right? So I already have 2/3 of my invite, and I only need to get about 150 more championship points with the remainder of the season that is going to start back up in 2022. So that expectation is important to get out there. If you are trying to qualify for the World Championships, this is going to be a very difficult year to do it, which is one of the reasons that I think that starting off with league challenges and league cups is really important. Get yourself out there, maybe try a regional championship, but also set that expectation for yourself. Are you in a position where you feel like you are talented enough and capable enough to be able to earn a World Championship invite with only half a season? That's something that if you are going into this season and planning on competing, something that you're going to want to think about, and that's going to vary on a case-by-case basis. Certainly some players will be able to do it, but not everybody. I played for years and was a very successful player before I was able to earn my first World Championship invitation. To give you some perspective, one season in 2014, I finished in the top 4 of a regional championship and still was not able to earn a World Championship invite that year. So hopefully that gives you an idea. I was a good player before I was able to earn an invitation to the World Championships. And it can be a tough thing to do. Now, by far my favorite events in the Pokemon TCG are regional championships. Regional championships are just like a huge party. There's usually thousands of players at them between all 3 age divisions. And by the way, championship point totals that you need vary by age division and by region that you play in. So I'll go over those. It's 500 for Masters Division, US and Canada players, but it's different, by age and by region where you live. I'll review that later. But regional championships, by far my favorite events to attend. They're like a huge party. They're like it almost feels like a festival or something like that, because of all of the fanfare going on. There's side events, there's vendors with tons of cards laid out. If you've ever watched one of my regional championship vlogs, hopefully you got a taste of some of the excitement that goes down at the regional championships. Usually the Pokemon Company International will stream them as well, so there's a professional production, commentators, all of that. They are a ton of fun. Now, if you win a regional championship, that's 200 championship points. So that's almost half of a World Championship invite with just one tournament win. Now, what's different about regional championships is that the attendance is much higher, right? Because the prize payout is much higher as well. Not only do you earn more championship points and the championship points go down further, right? There's also cash prizes on the line. First place wins $5,000, right? Second place, I think, gets $2,500. There's a lot of cash on the line for a regional championship, and the cash pays down to at least top 32. So you can pay for yourself, right, to attend the event, which is great. I mean, the best thing you could hope for when playing the Pokemon TCG is to break even. Usually, very few players are able to actually plus here, okay? The Pokemon TCG is a hobby. It's not a professional sport. And for most of us, we're looking to just get as close to even as possible while having some fun and making some new friends. So the cash payout going down to top 32 at least is a great way to help offset the cost of attending a regional championship, something that I'll go into a little bit further depth later in the video. Now, regional championships have a best finish limit of 6. So your 6 best performances from regional championships get counted towards your world championship invitation at the end of the season. And as you can see, the points go down far for a regional championship as well. If you get top 8 at a regional, that's 100 championship points. Top 32, that's 60 championship points. So even if you finish in the top 32 of a regional, you are going to be getting more championship points than if you win a League Cup. So I have found that regional championships are my favorite way and the easiest way to attain championship points. Now, that's not going to be the case for everybody, but since regional championships are played with a best 2 out of 3 Swiss, and you can afford to lose 2 rounds during Swiss if you win 7, right? Swiss rounds are usually 9 Swiss rounds day 1, then you cut to like 5 or 6 Swiss rounds day 2, and then cut to a top 8. And you can go 7-2 day 1, and you're going to be doing pretty good in going into day 2. So you can afford a couple losses. And with best 2 out of 3 in your Swiss rounds, you have a much bigger opportunity to make up for a bad starting hand or something like that. Whereas in League Cups, if you hit a bad matchup, open a bad hand, all of a sudden you have no chance of competing for top 8. So League Cups are much more punishing in that way, and I found that it's easier to finish consistently well at regional championships than it is to do so at League Cups. Now, I think a lot of us have friends that just go to a League Cup and it seems like they magically just end up on top almost every time. Matt Price is my friend who has won more League Cups than anybody I know. Some players just got it like that, okay? I am not one of those players. I am much better at regional championships, and we'll show off my stats from the 2022-2019 season so that you can get an idea of the point breakdown that I have earned so far this season with the events that I have attended. And then, of course, international championships. There are 4 international championships each year. The 2022-2019 season has already had 2 international championships, so there will be 2 more international championships in 2022 to round out the 4 international championships. Now, there is a North America International Championship. There's a EU International Championship. There is an Australian International Championship, and there's one more. Is it a Latin America? Yes, Latin American International Championship. So those are the 4. I have never gone to one that was not the North American International Championship. I've only ever gone to NAIC, and some players will travel to all 4. I ain't got the finances to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about finances and how to finance a World Championship invite later in this video, but you're going to have to look at your budget and say, okay, what's reasonable for me to attend and what's not reasonable for me to attend? You know, for some players, they got a lot of disposable income. I mean, not so much. I have to, I have bills to pay and and don't got it like that. So I only ever go to the North America International Championship, and it's a ton of fun. Obviously, the international championships have some of the biggest prize payouts of any tournaments. $10,000 for first place, 500 championship points if you win. You get your whole invitation paid for. I mean, you get your whole invitation worth of championship points if you win an international championship. And then the championship point payout is also huge. If you finish in the top 32, you get 160 championship points. So players who got a lot of cash can just fly out to every international championship. And if you finish in the top 32 or top 64 or even top 128, that's like one of the most absurd things. 100 championship points for top 128. If you have unlimited cash and you fly out to every single international championship and you just finish in the top 128 of each one, and there are at least 400 players at each one, then you can pretty much get an entire invite that way. So some players will do that. And that is not a way that I have ever been able to qualify for Worlds because it's too expensive. So that is definitely one way to do it. And the international championships are incredibly exciting. Highly recommend. Even if you're just going to go and play in side events, there's vendors. I mean, there's a lot to do there, even if you're not competing for a world championship invite. Now, they've announced the regional schedule for US and Canada. We have got 6 regional championships on the horizon starting in March. Very excited about that. Our first one is going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah. And some of the regional championships are going to include Pokemon Go competitions for the first time ever. So very much looking forward to attending some of these regional championships. I think that Full Grip is going to be vending many of these regional championships, or at least putting in bids to vend them. So that's something I'm looking forward to as well, traveling to some of these with my buddies here who work at Full Grip Games. And then we got a couple of EU regional championships and no current regionals scheduled for Latin America or Oceania. And then here is the prize breakdown for the regional championships. Like I said, we've got $5,000 if there are at least 200 players for first place. Second place, $2,500. Third to fourth, $1,500. Fifth through eighth, $750. Top 16, $500. And top 32, $250. So it's a great way to offset the cost of a regional championship if you're able to finish in the top 32, since $250 is a decent chunk of what it might cost to attend one of these. And if you're really savvy, you can attend and participate in a regional championship for $250 or less. I'll show you how in just a moment. And then, of course, international championships right here, and we've got the prize breakdown. Yep, of international championships. Like I said, $10,000 for first, $5,000 for second, and if you get top 64, it's $500. So another great way to offset the cost of an international championship. And then, of course, you get booster box prizes and stuff like that as well. It's not just cash prizes. You're going to be winning some booster packs and booster boxes of the latest sets. And then the World Championship point breakdown. This is what you need in order to qualify for the World Championships. As I've been saying, you need 500 championship points for US and Canada if you are a Masters Division player. Seniors only need 400, and then juniors 350. And then the point totals differentiate per region that you reside in, right? Europe is only 350, Latin America is 250, Oceania is 250, and South Africa is 250. And there are day 1 and day 2 invitations. In order to qualify for day 2, you need to be in the top portion of your region. This is, I'm going to be honest, kind of a pay-to-play system. It's not really realistic to make top 16 of US and Canada unless you are flying out to every single international championship, every single regional championship, and then also grinding every League Cup and League Challenge that you can attend. So that is the level of grinding that you might anticipate attempting if you are trying to finish in the top 16 or top 22 if you're Europe, or top 8 of Latin America, or top 8 of Oceania, right? The top 16 players attend almost every single event. That is just how it goes and how it's been going for years. I have never attempted to finish in the top 16 of the US and Canada because it's too dang expensive, and I ain't got the finances like that. So very impressive for those players who are able to grind for that top 16 position, but I don't have enough vacation days to do it either. It's just, you'd have to take so much time off work, right? It's pretty insane. So that is the difference between day 1 and day 2. If you earn the 500 championship points that you need, you're automatically qualified for day 1, which I think is going to take place on Thursday at the World Championships. But then players from day 1 have to finish with a good enough record to qualify for day 2, right? And then the players who finish in the top portion of their respective region are going to get automatically qualified for day 2. So that is very exciting and definitely a huge motivating factor for players that are grinding there. Now, let's take a look at my season so far. This season started in 2019 and then ended in March of 2020 at the Collinsville Regional Championships, which was the last regional championship held before the onset of COVID. So hopefully by looking at my season so far, you can get an idea of how many tournaments I needed to attend and what it might have cost me to get the amount of points that I have so far. I have 356 championship points so far. It's about half a season, right? We started playing. It says that the season starts in July. I didn't start playing until the fall, pretty much. And then, things stopped in March because, the World Championships happens in August. So I didn't really attend any league challenges or anything like that in July. But yeah, I attended 3 regional championships. And this is why I've said that regional championships are the best way to attain points, right? For the 3 regional championships that I've attended so far, I got 5th, 7th, and 10th. 5th out of 800 players, 7th out of 600 players, 10th out of 400. And I earned 280 championship points from 3 regionals. Now, it's possible to travel to regional championships efficiently as well. If you can book your flight early, you can get a pretty low rate on your flights, and then you split hotels, right? For your meals, you're going to want to really only go out for dinner as far as like lunch. Just get yourself something, at the hotel, breakfast, lunch, grab a couple apples, granola bars from the hotel, because you're already paying for the hotel and you're splitting that hotel, right? So all the hotels offer free breakfast, right? Grab yourself a couple granola bars, stuff them in your backpack, because that's really going to be the best thing for you. A lot of times at the convention centers, they have like a little food stand at the convention center where you can get like some chicken fingers and fries for $8 or something. So if that's what you're looking for lunch, then that's also an option. But I prefer to only really go out for dinner. I don't go out for breakfast or lunch. They got free breakfast at the hotel, and they've got granola bars and stuff you could just grab and shove in your backpack. Just something light to snack on, because a Pokemon tournament is a competitive event. So you're going to have those nerves. You're going to have all that stress. Eating a big meal during a regional championship is not something I would super advise. I don't know about you guys, but I get sleepy after I eat big. So I usually just want to eat light throughout the day. Just keep myself, with enough energy to make it through the event. And then that just means like some light snacking throughout the day. And then usually we'll go out with some buddies, after the event for dinner. So that way you can keep the cost of attending a regional championship pretty low. If you can drive to a regional championship, then you're in an even better position. A lot of players will drive 10 hours to a regional, 16 hours. I've seen players drive almost an entire day to attend a regional championship. Now, if you're in a pretty fuel efficient car, right, you can get about 6 hours on $50 worth of gas. That's a rough estimate, but pretty accurate, right? That's if you're in a pretty fuel efficient car. You don't want to actually be, driving your gas guzzler to the, to a regional championships. But a lot of players will drive 6 hours. That is not even asking a lot. You can crank that out in an evening. So let's say that you're driving 6 hours to 8 hours to a regional championship. Say, even if gas costs $100, right? Say that gas costs $100 to get you there. Split 4 ways, assuming that you can, get 4 people together in a car. That's $25 a person. So each way, that's $50 a person. So you could spend $50 realistically on gas if you're driving, somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to 8 hours and splitting it a few ways. And then for a hotel, split a few ways. You could be spending $100 for, $120 for a couple nights in a hotel. Let's keep in mind, a double bed, right? A queen size bed or whatever. A queen size bed can fit 2 adults, okay? So, get cozy, guys, because it is it's a great way to save money if you just get comfortable with the fact that you're going to be, splitting hotel rooms with friends and sharing beds, because that's just how it goes. And then not only sharing beds, which is a great way to save money, but also, sleeping on the floor, always a nice budget option as well. Yes, when I was younger, I crashed on a lot of hotel floors to make it all happen. I cannot tell you how many hotel floors I have slept on, as the number is very high. Usually the way it works is that, we'll all pile up on the floor, and then anybody who qualified for day 2 gets a bed, right? So that, or you pay a premium. If you're in the group, you pay a premium for the bed, right? So it's easy to figure out ways to make the travel work, especially if you got a good group of friends. One of the reasons why making friends is so important in the Pokemon TCG, because it's going to make traveling so much easier. Not only that, but I've said this before and I'll say it again and continue to say it the entire time that I produce Pokemon TCG content, that friendships and the bonds that you share with your fellow competitors is the most important part of playing the Pokemon TCG. A lot of times, you'll remember the conversations that you had in these long car rides more than you will remember the actual tournament itself. So I highly recommend building relationships, getting to know players in your local scene, and really building those bonds. That's something that you can only get from attending events in real life, because there's a whole process to it, and the process, right, that you go through attending these events is something that really brings players together, and I think that it is. It's super important. Now, as you can see, just looking at my point breakdown, right, I told you that I absolutely loathe League Cups, and hopefully this table here shows you why. I attended 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 League Cups. Only got points from 2 of them. I largely consider League Cups to be a waste of time, because it's like, okay, look, I attended 4 of these and got nothing. Okay, that is a huge L. I attended 3 regional championship and averaged almost 100 points per regional, whereas I attended 6. My average championship point per League Cup is so much lower than my average championship point per regional. So if you're good, then you can earn your invite just going to some regional championships and doing consistently well. League Cups are one of the most difficult ways to get a World Championship invitation. Even the League Challenges, I've gone to 2 League Challenges so far, and I've only gotten 12 points, right? So anytime that there's like a local, I'll try to make my way out to it. I can't participate in any of the Full Grip Games local events because I cast them all. So local events are a little bit harder for me to play in. But as you can see, I've attended, 13 total events with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. I have 356 championship points so far. So it's certainly possible to earn your World Championship invite only going to, less than 20 events. I mean, really, if I had only just gone to regionals, I probably could have done it going to maybe 5 regional championships or so, maybe 6. So it's certainly possible to get your invite going to just a handful of events throughout the course of the year. I will say also that generally speaking, the more experienced and the better you are at playing the Pokemon TCG, the less it'll cost to earn a World Championship invite. That's just the way it is, right? That doesn't make it a pay-to-play system, but, if you are going to pay your way out to like 1 million League Cups and 1 million League Challenges, then, you're going to be grinding a lot harder to try and get your World invite, your World Championship invite than someone who just goes to a regional and wins or something like that. So it is, it's kind of like that. Yep. And then, attaining the top 16, top 8 in your region can also be a system that is kind of like that. Obviously, you have to be very good, but you also have to have the finances to compete for those positions. So there's a lot of that goes into the Pokemon TCG. Obviously, traveling is going to be easier for some players in some regions and easier for some people in some occupations than it is going to be for others. At the end of the day, this is a competitive tabletop activity, and traveling is a necessary part of competing in the Pokemon TCG at the highest level. That's just the way that it is. If you're disappointed by the fact that you have to travel in order to compete to be the best Pokemon TCG player in the world, let me remind you that this kind of play just can't be replicated online, because there is no way to adequately police cheating and things like that on the online versions of the game. You can still have some very competitive tournaments online, absolutely, and I'm not trying to discount those at all, but what I am saying is that in order to compete at the highest level, you're going to have to travel, and you're going to have to attend some real life tournaments where judge staff can watch over everything and make sure that the event is running smoothly and fairly. So I would advocate for traveling, because I think that traveling is the most meaningful experience that you can get out of playing the Pokemon trading card game competitively, making those friendships, visiting new places. If you're only playing online, you're missing a huge chunk of what it means to be a Pokemon trading card game player. These events really are wonderfully hosted and wonderfully run, and they really are something special to attend. Now, I know that for some people, it's not going to be easy to attend events, and for each person, they are going to have to assess, their life situation, their finances, their job that they're working, and decide what's best for them wherever they're at. For a lot of young people, I should say, it is, they might have, they just might not have a very strict job schedule, right? So that they can kind of attend lots of events. And I've noticed that, for people that are not in a professional career yet, they don't have as many things keeping them from traveling. So it's certainly easier to do if you're young, but you can do it if you're an adult with a job and things like that as well. You just have to set aside time and finances to be able to make it happen. And if you work weekends, you're going to have to take some weekends off. That is another, thing about it, because all the tournaments take place on weekends. I would highly recommend, if you can only attend one regional championship a year, that's fine. I think treat it like a vacation. Take your family, have some fun, right? Not everybody who plays the Pokemon trading card game has to compete for a world championship invitation. And I think that's a really important thing to put out there as well, because Worlds is a big special event, of course, but ask yourself, is it reasonable for me to expect myself, where I am at this point in my life, to be able to try and compete at the world championship level in any activity that I'm doing, right? Is that a place that I am at, right? That's why I say a lot of young people can make those sacrifices because they don't have a family yet, or they don't have a career or many bills to pay. It's easier. It's an easier sacrifice to make for a lot of young people. And it's a difficult sacrifice to make. It takes a lot to qualify for a world championship. So just putting that expectation out there, it is tough to qualify for worlds, and qualifying for the 2022 World Championships is going to be even more tough if you don't have points from the 2019-2020 season carrying over, because it's only half a season, right? It's half a season that you're working with, but certainly not impossible. And if you take a look at the regional championship schedule and are able to find some local tournaments to hit up as well, it can certainly be done. And I expect that many players will be able to do it. Now, talking a little bit about the cost of attending a regional championship, if you are balling on a budget. I have done a lot of different jobs, okay, since I started playing the Pokemon TCG competitively, and I have done a lot of balling on a budget. So I have a lot of experience here to draw from. When I started playing the Pokemon trading card game, oh, this is going to be a interesting little tidbit of information. I was squatting in a dorm room. I was a photojournalist working for $12 an hour part-time and waiting tables at Cracker Barrel part-time, to give you an idea of where I was at in my life. So I did not have a wealth of finances to go off of. So I was, at this point in my life, never flying to a tournament. I only ever drove to regional championships, league cups, things like that. I didn't ever fly to my first regional championship until I think like 2017 or 2018. So to give you an idea, I qualified for my first world championship without ever having boarded a plane to go to a tournament. I started within my limits, which meant driving and carpooling, right? So if you are going to carpool to a tournament that is, say like a reasonable driving distance from you, you can expect to say, even if you just say, I'm going to spend $100 on gas, split 4 ways, right? That could get you pretty far. $100 worth of gas split. That's $400 worth of gas, okay? That can get you a lot of places. Now, in order to attend a regional championships take place on Saturday and Sunday. So you don't actually have to take Friday off work. Some people will, right? But up until this point, regional championships have only taken place on Saturdays and Sundays, with Saturday being day 1 Swiss, and then day 2 Swiss, and top 8 happening on that Sunday. So carpooling, $100 should get you anywhere that you need to get. That's $400 worth of gas. Yeah, you get just about anywhere. And this is carpooling with like 3 other people in a reasonable sized car. I'm not saying that you're going to get there in your Hummer for $100. Okay, don't take a Hummer to a regional championship. Then we got the hotel, right? So the hotel split 4 ways, right? You've got 2 queen size beds in a lot of hotel rooms. You can fit 2 people on each bed. Say you're splitting a hotel 4 ways, and then for 2 nights in a hotel, you're paying, let's just say, $150 a night. Sometimes, depending on the city, you can find a motel, right? In which case, you're going to be cutting that even further, right? Airbnbs, another great way you can get in there for much cheaper. So say you're in a hotel for 2 nights. We'll even say it's $200 a night. Say like, okay, you're in a big city, $200 a night, split 4 ways. That's another $100, okay? So we're saying $400 for 2 nights in a hotel, which is pretty reasonable. That's on average. Some of these are going to be so much cheaper because you're going to be able to find a motel or a Super 8 or whatever. Some of them are going to be a little bit more pricey. So this is just on average. And then dinner, right? Dinner is going to be the big meal that you're paying for because you're going to go out with some buddies and you're going to have some fun or whatever. So dinner times 2, right? Actually, yeah, dinner times 2 because you're going to pay for dinner Friday night. And then you're going to pay for dinner Saturday night, and then Sunday you're going to be traveling, so you're just going to get like a Subway sandwich for $5. So dinner out, right? Dinner out times 2. Say you go out Friday night, Saturday night, and you have a little fun. We'll say that, if you spend over $50 on dinner for yourself, that's on you. But say that's $100, right? Yeah. If you're spending over $50 when you're out for dinner by yourself, then you're not balling on a budget. But just say you're having a little bit of fun because you're with your friends. That's the whole point of going, right? So I'll give you $100 for dinner out times 2, though you certainly don't need to. You can cut that, right? You can cut that to $5 footlong. Do they still do that at Subway? Anyway, you could get a footlong sub for like $6. So don't tell me that you need to spend $20, $30, $40 on dinner because you don't have to, right? You could get a footlong sub for like $6. I mean, really, you could eat for the whole weekend on like $50 easily, right? But anyways, I digress. Some people won't do that. So we'll say dinner out times 2, $100, right? And then, like I said, breakfast and lunch. Breakfast and lunch. Get that free hotel breakfast. Insane, right? So for breakfast and lunch, you're going to go to the hotel for the free breakfast. Why would you not do that? It's free. You're at a Pokemon tournament. Don't go out for breakfast. That's ridiculous. Lunch, grab a granola bar from the breakfast station, jam it in your backpack. There's a lunch. Like I said, they'll have some fried food baskets or something like that at the regional convention hall, right? You could probably get some chicken fingers and fries for $8 or whatever if you want. Usually I'm not about that. Just would rather have a granola bar or something like that. So breakfast and lunch, free. And then what else do you need? We've got dinner out, hotel split 4 ways, carpool, registration. All right, registration. Registration's usually like $50. If you register early for regional championships, registration is $50. And outside of that, the cost of your decks and things like that, and the cost it costs you for cards. I mean, obviously, buying cards is going to cost an amount of money, but you can even attain the cards you need for one meta deck and kind of just play that all season. People do that for sure. So there are cheap, more cheap and more expensive ways to play. Yeah, deodorant. Deodorant. $5. Yeah. So at a regional championship, we've got carpool, $100. Hotel split 4 ways, $100. Dinner out times 2, $100. Free breakfast and lunch because you take the hotel breakfast there and just eat a light lunch, go out for dinner. You could also, if you are not comfortable, with doing a free breakfast and lunch, I don't think that it should cost you more than $100 for 2 days worth of eating because you are, you could get a $6 footlong sub. How much does it cost to eat a footlong sub, right? Multiply that times the amount of meals you want to eat. Like, if you are really trying to do things on a budget, you are not eating a $20 steak dinner every night. Okay, it's just not. It's not what it's going to be. So, this all said and done, and then say you get some, energy drinks, coffee, things like that, extras. We're going to just say extras, $50, right? Then you're into regional cost, $400. Okay, so if you are being even just a little bit savvy, you can go to a regional championship for about $400. Now, if we take a look at the money you win back, right? Being good pays. Being good at the game definitely pays, okay? Because if you finish in the top 32, you're getting 250 of those dollars back. So that is big. If you finish in the top 16, you have plussed, right? you've plussed if you finish in the top 16. And if you finish in the top 8, you've really plussed. If you've won, then you've really, really plussed. Now, if you take into consideration that it cost you $400 to go to one regional championship, then say, okay, it cost me to go to the 3 regional championships that I've attended so far this season. Say it cost me $1,500. I always split my hotels. I always am super I'm super careful with like my breakfast and lunch. I never really get anything big. Say it's cost me $1,500 to to go to these so far. Now if we look at my 3, I've gotten 2 top 8s and a top 16. So with 2 top 8s and a top 16, I have earned $2,000 so far. It has cost me, say, about $1,500, and then earned $2,000. So I've plussed, right, on the 3 that I've attended so far, and I've got over half of my World Championship invitation from the 3 regionals that I have attended so far. In order to qualify for World Championships year after year after year, part of it, you got to get good, right? Just straight up, you got to get good at the game. Because if you're not good, you're going to just be throwing money away, and it's going to be a huge feel bad for you because you're spending, thousands of dollars going out to events all the time and maybe not doing as well as you had hoped to do. To give you some perspective, I started playing in 2012, and I qualified for my first World Championship in 2015. So for 3 years, I was putting myself out there. I was grinding locals. I would go to 1-2 regional championships a year, okay? And was just trying to get my feet wet. The first year that I ever really tried to qualify for Worlds was 2014, after I had already been playing competitively for 2 years. So just to give you some idea of my competitive career, my competitive track, it took me years to get my first World Championship invite, and my goal in playing the Pokemon TCG was never to make it big or whatever. I just wanted the hobby to pay for itself. That was my goal. I was like, if I could get good enough to the point where I can do this, right? Where I can just make the hobby pay for itself and it's not a huge money suck for me, then that'll be awesome, because I'll get to have all these amazing experiences. I'll get to travel. I'll get to make friends and do all this fun stuff, and it's not going to break my bank. So that, for me, was my personal goal. And now at this point, after having played for 10 years, I can honestly say that my goal is no longer to qualify for the World Championships. I've done it. It was fun. And it's an incredible and rewarding experience to go for that. But at this point, I'm just trying to have fun and make friends and travel. And that's what it's all about. So I think going into competitive play, definitely have that at the forefront. This is about new experiences, meeting new players, making friends, making memories that you are going to have for a lifetime. That is the most important part of playing the Pokemon TCG, and something that makes playing the Pokemon TCG competitively unlike any other activity that I have ever done. So hopefully this video was informative, gave you an idea of what to expect if you are going to be traveling and competing for a world championship. I'm sure that there are many more questions that you may have. If you do have questions, make sure to check out the Tricky Gym Discord. The link will be in the description below. We have got a great and welcoming community in the Tricky Gym Discord that has a lot of experience with the Pokemon TCG. Don't be intimidated. People at Pokemon tournaments are by and large very friendly and very helpful. Some of the judging staff at these events are some of the nicest people I have ever met, and I have had an incredible experience attending events and traveling over the course of the last 10 years, and am very much looking forward to resuming traveling for the 2022 season. So if you're planning on attending your first Pokemon trading card game event, let me know in the comments below. Let me know which event you have your eyes on. And if you got some thoughts about organized play in general, make sure to let me know in the comments below. The Pokemon Company International has a whole list of safety guidelines that they're going to be abiding by for these first tournaments, since we are still wrestling with the COVID-19 pandemic. That link will be in the description below as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/TrickyGym, where I'm live right now. Well, if you're on YouTube, it's not right now because I'm live now, which is at the time that I am currently, I'm live. It's more fun on Twitch, so you should come hang out and join the club. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great day. Peace.